What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to this episode of the Average Bobcast. For today's video, we are going to dive into the Giants 2026 schedule. I'm going to give some very basic, my first gut feeling for the wins and losses going into the 2026 season based on the current schedule and how we see it now. I'm going to add some commentary to each game as I see fit, and we'll walk through all of the fun things that we have on tap for this season. So, with that, let's dive into it, as that is the premise of this video. Week one, prime time. Tale as old as time versus the Cowboys, 8:20 p.m. at MetLife Stadium. I'll probably be at the game. I got to see how everything shakes out. I got the two kids these days. But let's talk about the last matchup that the Giants had that a lot of people, maybe even some of you watching this video, are pissed off that the Giants beat the Cowboys earlier this year in January, 34-17. Bellinger had that crazy tight end screen. People wanted the Giants to lose to get a better draft pick. I don't really think it mattered at the end of the day, so I'm happy that they did beat the Giants, or the Giants beat the Cowboys. Then earlier, see, this is why these divisional games get a little wonky so early in the season, because when you look at the first time the Giants played the Cowboys and Russell Wilson had that crazy game where he had like 450 passing yards or whatever it was, which was absurd, and the Giants found a way to lose. Kind of crazy if you think about it. If the Giants would have just fired Shane Bowen at that point in time, right after that game, would Brian Dable still be having the job? But we're going to talk about Brian Dable a lot during week three coming up here. But to talk about the Giants in prime time at home versus the Cowboys, coming off a win late last season. People say that win is meaningless. It doesn't matter. You should have lost for the draft pick. I couldn't disagree with that more. The Giants continue to carry over based on that win last season, even though some of the names have changed and a lot of guys that will be key on this team this year will be playing this time around that might have missed that last game. But the thing is, Jackson Dart got it done with a limited offense. Week one, starting the season 2026, his offense is going to be way stronger at full force. So I'm giving the Giants a W in week one in prime time. Following it up, week two in prime time. This is, I believe, Monday Night Football versus the Rams, 8:15. This is on the road in LA. The last time that the Giants played the Rams, they lost 26-25 in 2023. I'm going to have to rewatch the tape, or what I had said on that, from a commentary perspective, because that's a while ago now, but the YouTube channel was alive and thriving way back then. But 2023 was a really down year for the Giants after 2022. Before that was 2021, where the Rams beat the Giants 38-11. So a lot has changed. I think one thing to keep in mind for the Rams, and I'm going to give the Giants a loss on this one, because I think you're entering in an arguable season where Matt Stafford did have like an MVP like season this previous year. I think he only builds on that. And here's the main reason why, is because the Rams drafted Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson at like 15 overall. McVay looked pissed off. And I'm sure, as we've seen over the years, when you have a aging quarterback who's Matt Stafford is not going to be done this season or the season after at this point in time, unless injuries really, shake him up. But I think Matt Stafford is going to be in the MVP conversation coming up this year. And with a guy like Puka Nacua coming back at full strength, it's going to be a very tough task for the Giants to stop this offense. It's also going to be a very early test to see what this Giants defense is made of, particularly game planning against a great proven NFL quarterback in week two. We're going to learn about a lot about how the secondary is going to look, because if there's anything Matt Stafford and Sean McVay and that offense could do, is really sling the rock, and it doesn't matter to who. So I'm giving the Giants will start 1-1. Moving on to week three versus the Titans versus our old friend at offensive coordinator Brian Dable, who I didn't realize is the highest paid, one of the highest paid coordinators, or the highest paid coordinator in the entire NFL. And it's crazy if you think about it. The matchup experts kind of cooked on this one, because if you go back in time, the last time that the Giants played the Titans was really Brian Dable's coming out party. They had the 2-point conversion at the end of the game. The Titans also missed a field goal. So, but Dable did, he was big balls Dable going into that time period, September 11th, 2022, and the Giants won 21-20. And things have been really wonky recently between Giants fans and Titans fans on Twitter. I haven't really dove into the mud. I'm 37 years old. I can't really get in the weeds with online internet fighting too much anymore. Not that I really did too much to begin with, but um, there seems to be a lot of bad blood at this point between the Titans and the Giants, especially the fans. And Brian Dable is going to come into this one. He's going to really have to do everything in his power to try and beat the Giants. He knows the team really well, what makes the Giants offense tick. But this is a new team that the Giants will be moving forward this season, especially offensively. Some of the weapons that Dable really didn't have last year in his final season at the helm, between Neighbors going down early, Scattaboo. He only got to really play with some of his toys. I bet he would have, if Brian Dable could go back in time, he probably would have canned Shane Bowen after one season, not brought him back from another one. And here's the thing that I have to say about Brian Dable. Brian Dable is a damn good offensive coordinator. Head coach, maybe not so much. But here's the thing. They paired him with Robert Saleh, who is a pretty mediocre, terrible, actually not that great of a coach for the Jets at all. And then, so Dable and Saleh both have had head coaching jobs, but neither of them are really that good at a head coaching position. And I think for the Titans specifically, who would you rather have be the head coach? Would you rather have Robert Saleh, who really didn't do too much with the Jets, but is a damn fine, good defensive coordinator with his time with the 49ers? Or would you rather have Brian Dable, who won a head coach of the year in that 2022 season, which I said was a fluke? It should have been Pete Carroll anyway. And this is from a biased Giants fan. So if you're a Titans fan, would you rather have Dable? Or, I mean, I guess it's almost interchangeable. Like, Robert Saleh is not going to give too much input on the offensive coordinator side. Seriously, he didn't do that when Zach Wilson was there and needed help. He didn't give him anything. But for this one, I am giving the Giants the win here. I think the Giants will do enough to win. I know Dable is going to want to go for broke, and he's going to want to he's going to do everything in his power to embarrass the Giants. I think you're going to have, right now, I'm telling you, bet the over on Wan'Dale Robinson receptions and probably total yards. I'm not trying to advocate for gambling, but Brian Dable is going to want to shove everything in the Giants' face. Now, there's, Brian Burns could say otherwise, but I'm really excited for that matchup. The Giants will get it done and move to 2-1. Moving ahead to week 4 versus the Cardinals. This is an easy win here for the Giants. Week 4, October 4th, versus the Cardinals. I guess a CBS game. The last time the Giants played the Cardinals was September 17th, 2023. If you guys remember the end of that game, Saquon had a unbelievable, I believe, catch for a touchdown. Again, I could go back and rewatch what happened there. But he had an unbelievable catch for a touchdown, and I remember watching it because I was surrounded with friends and family because it was my wife's baby shower, so we were all out together watching. And the high fives were flowing at the end of that one. But again, that was probably at a point in that season where there weren't too many high fives after it. And listen, the Cardinals are in an absolutely weird spot. They just took Jeremiah Love, 3 overall this previous draft. He's one of the highest guaranteed paid, or the highest guaranteed paid contract from a running back perspective. So they're a young and budding team. Kyler Murray's gone now. Jacoby Brissett, I saw, is holding out, actually, which is kind of crazy. I saw something like bridge quarterbacks are now holding out. But I hope Jacoby Brissett does have success, just not week 4 versus the Giants. So the Giants will get to 3-1, moving on to week 5, divisional matchup versus the Washington Commanders on Fox at 1 p.m. down in DC, or I guess it's Langston, Maryland. Last time the Giants played the Commanders won 29-21 in December of last year. And then before that, they had played early on in September where the Commanders won 21-6. So you're looking at Jaden Daniels, who has had really nothing but success against the Giants at this point so far in his career. And for that reason and that reason alone, because I'm going to give the Giants 2 wins against the Cowboys and 1 versus the Eagles, but just because I know that how this works from a divisional standpoint, I'm going to give the Commanders an early home win versus the Giants in week 5, because that's traditionally when Jaden Daniels, I think, is playing better. And I mean, I guess this is only year 3 for him, but he is marred with a lot of injuries. I think those injuries for him tend to pile up late in seasons. And I think by week 5, he will still be doing his thing, and will be enough to get it done. Week 6, at home versus Saints. This will be a beautiful game. If you want to go with the boys, you want to take the family, 1 o'clock, October 18th versus Saints at home. This will be an amazing day to go to a game. The last time the Giants played the Saints was last season, October 5th, 26-14. This is the one game where the Giants were up, I believe, 14-3 or 14-0. Then the first half, I think they had like 5 out of 7 turnovers, pretty much to end the game. There was the Scattaboo going in, fumble 6. There was the awful Jackson Dart where he fumbled it off his leg, which was just like totally rookie mistake, boneheaded mistakes. I think the Giants will avenge this loss from last season, get back in the win column, currently sitting at 4-2. But this is going to be a fun matchup between second year quarterback Tyler Shaw versus Jackson Dart. And there's a bone to pick there with Jackson Dart because Tyler Shaw had more rookie of the year votes than Jackson Dart. And if you don't think Jackson Dart is taking a lot of this shit personally, just see the way he responds to these things, specifically in this game on October 18th. Really excited for this one. But the Giants get it done. Moving ahead to week 7, October 25th. Another 1 p.m. game on the road in Houston. So is that like a noon kickoff? Because they're an hour behind, right? So this is 1 o'clock Eastern time. The last time the Giants played the Texans, going back to 2022, season that they made the playoffs, the Giants won 24-16. And then before that was 2018, so way too long ago at this point. The Giants will get a win here versus the Texans. I think the Texans have been, I feel like they have a good defense, but I think the Giants defense will be able to do enough to stop the Texans offense. So the Giants will move to 5-2. I really like CJ Stroud, but I think that one playoff game versus the Patriots last year was really horrendous, right? There was no there's nothing really to say about it. That was one of the worst playoff performances I've ever seen. And kudos to the Pats for even getting to a Super Bowl because they didn't blow them out. Well, I can't remember off the top of my head how many turnovers that CJ Stroud accounted for in that game, but it was absolutely awful. I do think Will Anderson and that Houston Texans front seven is pretty good. And I think they have a really good cornerback too? I'm maybe Stingley. I might be blanking on that or wrong there, but it's a big test on the road. Think the Giants get it done because I think the Giants defense will come out to play that week. Week 8, the Giants have a bye. Fingers crossed nothing stupid happens there. Moving ahead to week 9, this is a monumental game coming off the bye. Hopefully no bye week blues as the G-men roll into Lincoln Financial Field November 8th for a 1 o'clock game versus the Eagles. So going back to last season where the Giants played them twice in about 3 weeks. So the first matchup, the Giants won 34-17. And that was, I did a live stream after that game. I was like, we are so back. What did I just watch? This is a new era of Giants football about to begin. Maybe a blurb and a chapter about what could happen. But again, after that, the momentum this previous season was not continued. A couple weeks later, then you have Scattaboo snap his ankle, and the Giants lost 38-20 on the road in Philadelphia. I'm going to give the Eagles this early, or not really early at this point. We're in November, but the Eagles get it done in this game. Lincoln Financial Field is a hard place for the Giants to win, anyone to win, but it's going to be a huge test for sophomore season Jackson Dart to go into there against a team that has been playoff contenders, been in a couple Super Bowls now over the last few seasons. Defense is great. Offensive line's good. You guys know how much I respect the Eagles. Obviously, I hate their fan base. But I think the Eagles take that one. So the Giants are sitting at 5-3. Moving ahead to week 10 on Prime, November 12th. The 8th, probably a Thursday night game versus Washington. And the Giants get the win in this one. The Giants will turn to a new era of primetime football, not marred by the record of Daniel Jones. No more will we be laughing stocks on primetime football. A new era has begun with Jackson Dart, who I think is currently 1-1, but it's going to continue into next season. And the Giants get it done for Jeff Bezos and all of the lovely Amazon Prime supporters. I'm open if you want to sponsor me, Jeff. But yeah, no, the Giants get it done. That one moving to 6-3, and then moving into Week 11 for Giants home game versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Going back in time to 2022, the last time the Jaguars and the Giants played, the Giants won 23-17. I think I have like no recollection of this game in my memory at all whatsoever. But again, my YouTube channel was there, so I need to go back and look. You know what? I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to give the Giants a loss here, and Trevor Lawrence does enough to get a win on the road. And we'll just say Jackson Dart doesn't have one of his best days. I don't know. Week 12 on the road at versus the Colts. This is a game. Put it on your calendar. Circle it right now. The Giants will go into Lucas Oil Stadium and get a W on the road against Daniel Jones, who Daniel Jones and the Colts looked really good before Daniel Jones suffered that awful Achilles tear. I'm not really sure what his timeline is for coming back. Like, if he'll be ready in the first half of the season or what, because they did re-sign him, and it was a little bit weird to see, the back and forth, and Daniel Jones playing hardball, even though that the Colts had a lot of their success with Jones. Jonathan Taylor is a great player. But I think there's just too much on the line here where, like, I think people probably on the Giants, I don't even know. I feel like maybe so many people have already left that team that they don't really give a shit at all about Daniel Jones. But this is more of a pride thing. I think Giants fans see the Daniel Jones that we know and love. And so I would bet on probably 2 interceptions from Daniel Jones here at least. Maybe a fumble too, because he's going to be seeing ghosts versus new and improved Giants defensive front. Probably wishes he had some of that when he was here. Giants get the win there. That was week 12. What am I up to? I'm up to 6-4. Did I miss one? No, 7-4. Okay, so we're good. Then moving ahead to this one will be a loss at home versus the 49ers. I just hope we're seeing some competitive Giants football at this point in time, because I seriously hate last season going to... Did I go to the Giants 49ers game last year? No, I went to the Chiefs game. But I feel like when the Giants and the 49ers play each other, they do play each other quite frequently, right? Last November, they played. The Giants lost by 10, 34-24. Before that was 2023, where the 49ers won 32-12. So the 49ers are going to come into MetLife Stadium and get the dub here, unless Christian McCaffrey's done for the count and Brock Purdy's banged up. But that team does have some holes on it at this point. I just have a tremendous amount of respect for Kyle Shanahan and his game plan and getting stuff done. And I think that's what happened last November. I feel like I went to that game because I just no, I didn't. Did I can't remember. But it was like, I feel like Christian McCaffrey was absolutely beating up on the Giants. And I think he has success again, unless we see a new and improved Giants. I probably should have given the Giants the win here, because then you're going into one of the most obnoxious fan bases stadium on planet Earth. Week 14 on the road, 4:25 kick versus Seattle Seahawks on Fox. And you guys know me. I'm gonna give the Giants a win here, just because I'm gonna be so emotionally invested in this game, because I hate Seahawks fans. I think they're one of the most obnoxious fan bases outside of the Eagles that the NFL has to offer. I think their stadium it's just artificially inflated for sound, and they think that makes them louder. Like, come on for the 12. And I will say the only reason I rooted for the Seahawks last year in the Super Bowl, or wanted them to win, is because I actually respect Sam Darnold, because the Jets hung him out to dry so badly, and I wanted him to have his, I don't want to say revenge tour, but his underdog story arc of, being cast away to a shitty franchise, spending time on the bench, spending time learning other places, and coming back and ultimately winning a Super Bowl. And he also seemed like a really great guy. Um, but yeah, so if we go back to October 2nd, 2023, the Seahawks beat the Giants 24-3. It was an awful game. And I'll never forget this because we were in the hospital for our first born child. So that was the first Giants game she watched, was just Daniel Jones throwing pick sixes to Witherspoon. It was awful. But the Seahawks championship run is officially over, and week 14 will mark that as the Giants stomp them out on the road in their home stadium in front of their fans crying. Week 15, moving ahead against the Cleveland Browns, 1 o'clock start. Giving the Giants to win here. I think the Browns are just one of the lowly franchises in sports history, and I feel bad because, contrary to Seahawks fans, I think Browns fans are actually amazing people. That are probably are, like Jets fans, some of the most loyal people you'll ever meet in your life. There's no bandwagon anything about them, but unfortunately, I think that Deshaun Watson contract and never really moving on from it was just enough to set a franchise back for a number of years. Until that's gone, I really will probably be picking the Browns to lose in majority of games. Week 16, Giants versus the Lions, Monday night football. I don't even know, Monday or Sunday night football, some sort of night football on the road in Lions Stadium. This was rumored to be a game that was going to be played in Germany. Didn't come to fruition. I am going to pencil in the Giants for a loss here, even though last season, even though the Giants should have beat the Lions last season, if you remember that game, because the Giants had them on the ropes. And I mean, but this is what happened with all of Shane Bowen's defense in a lot of the games last year. Games that the Giants should have won, they ended up losing. I think Matt Stafford, or not Matt Stafford, Jared Goff didn't look very impressive in that game. One guy who did impress me was Gibbs. I think Gibbs is absolutely phenomenal, but how does his workload change this year as Dave Montgomery is gone now? But I think the Giants, again, right another wrong from last season and figure out a way to get it done on. No, wait, I gave us a loss. So the Giants don't right or wrong. It just kind of picks back up, and the Lions will win their third straight game against the Giants. Week 17 at home versus the Cowboys. January 3rd, I will give the Giants another win here. They will clinch the NFC East, get to 10 wins for the first time in God knows how long. The Giants get it done to start the new year. New year, new me, new Giants. Week 18, TBD, flexibility here versus the Eagles. And the Eagles will find a way to beat the Giants starters that will be resting for the playoffs. So I have the Giants winning the NFC East at 10-7. Here we go. There you have it. Let me know what you guys think about how the Giants are going to do in this upcoming season. Again, I'm very biased about how excited I am for what the Giants are going to do. You know what? It's been a long time of years of the Giants sucking at this point outside of the fluke 2022 season, which I did a video on. Didn't do 2016 video, but that's been in the news recently with Eli Manning going on Busting with the Boys and talking about the boat picture and all of that shit. And I don't know. There's a lot to be said about Ben McAdoo. If you guys have made it this far in the video and you want me to go into detail into the flaws that were Ben McAdoo, and why the Giants panicked and signed him, and how he shit the bed with starting Geno over Eli, and why he did it, and then he had to cry after about saying once he got fired, "Oh, I wanted Patrick Mahomes." It's like, bullshit. No, you didn't. It's an absolute lie. But I think that's the way Ben McAdoo was. And I think that there was a lot of people that are con artists, con men that have been associated with the Giants over their tenure. Dave Gettleman could be one of them. And then you're seeing, I don't know, is Joe Shane one too. So with that, let me know what you guys think about the 2026 schedule. How many wins do you think the Giants have as we move into this upcoming season? There's going to be a lot to debate about, and a lot of it's going to be hinging on, guys being healthy and coming back. I will do another video this week about Malik Neighbors because I want to spend some time talking about his ACL surgery that he had another surgery on, and I'm pretty nervous about it. But with that, this will cap off today's video on the scheduling. If you guys like this video, please drop a thumbs up. Helps the algorithm. Drop a comment. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I know it's a scorcher here. I was gonna say New York. I don't live in New York anymore, but in Connecticut, where I live now, it's a scorcher. And then it's gonna start raining again before Memorial Day. So what's going on? I don't know. Have a great rest of your week, y'all.